If you're considering divorce and you want to avoid a long, expensive court process, this video is for you. We're going to walk through how uncontested divorce works in Alabama, who it's right for, what the process looks like from start to finish, and what can go wrong if you're not prepared. My name is Kim Clenney. I'm an attorney at Clenney and Palmer in Montgomery, Alabama. With my law partner, Debora Palmer, our goal is to help you move forward with as little stress as possible. Now, what is an uncontested divorce? An uncontested divorce is when both spouses agree to the divorce and agree on all major terms. No judge has to decide anything for you. No drawn-out hearings, no back and forth between lawyers arguing and every detail. In Alabama, this is something called an agreement divorce, and it's one of the most efficient ways to legally end a marriage when both parties are willing to cooperate. Uncontested doesn't mean you don't need an attorney. It means the conflict is low, but you still need someone to make sure the paperwork is done correctly and the agreement actually protects you and that nothing gets missed. To qualify for an uncontested divorce in Alabama, you and your spouse need to agree on the following: property and assets. This includes your home, vehicles, bank accounts, retirement accounts, and anything else of value you've built together. Next is debt. Shared debt has to be addressed. Who is responsible for what after the divorce is finalized? This is something a lot of people overlook, and it can cause real problems down the road if it's not handled clearly in the agreement. If you have children, custody and visitation, you'll need to agree on where the children will live, how time will be split, and how major decisions about their lives will be made. Child support, Alabama has specific guidelines for calculating child support, and your agreement needs to reflect those. Spousal support, if applicable. Not every divorce involves alimony, but if it's part of your situation, that needs to be agreed upon as well. If you and your spouse can get aligned on all of those things, or you're willing to work toward alignment, an uncontested divorce is likely on the table for you. However, if there's a big conflict or one spouse is being uncooperative, a contested divorce may be appropriate. That doesn't mean things need to get ugly, but it does require a different process. Now let's get into the process step by step. Step 1 is meeting with an attorney. Before you file anything, sit down with a lawyer, go over your situation, confirm you qualify, and understand what documents you'll need. Step 2 is drafting the settlement agreement. That's the document that outlines everything both spouses have agreed to: property, debt, custody, support. All of it gets put into writing. This document is legally binding, so getting it right matters. Step 3 is filing the paperwork with the court in Alabama. You file a complaint for a divorce along with your settlement agreement in the county where you or your spouse resides. Step 4 is the waiting period. Alabama has a 30-day waiting period after the divorce is filed before it can be finalized. Most uncontested divorces are finalized somewhere between 30 and 60 days from the date of filing, depending on the court schedule. Step 5 is the final decree. Once the judge reviews and approves your agreement, the sign-off on the divorce decree and your divorce is legally final. For a lot of people, they never have to appear before a judge. Now, one of the biggest reasons people choose an uncontested divorce is cost. A contested divorce can cost tens of thousands of dollars. You're paying for every motion filed, court appearance, and every hour of attorney time negotiating on your behalf. But an uncontested divorce is significantly less because the process is simpler and faster. Attorney fees vary depending on the complexity of your situation, but they are a fraction of what a contested divorce typically costs. There are also court filing fees in Alabama, which vary by county. If you and your spouse are able to reach an agreement, you will save big amount of money. As far as mistakes are concerned, there are 5 common mistakes to avoid. The first mistake is trying to do it without an attorney. The documents you sign are binding. If your agreement has errors or missing terms, you could end up back in court trying to fix it later. The second mistake is not being thorough about assets and debt. People forget about retirement accounts, stock options, tax liabilities, and joint credit cards. Every shared financial obligation needs to be in your agreement. The third mistake is making verbal agreements and assuming they'll be honored. If it's not in writing and signed off by a judge, it's not legally enforceable. The fourth mistake is letting emotions drive your decisions. Decisions made in anger or guilt can hurt you financially for years. Having an attorney helps you think clearly about what is actually fair and sustainable long term. The fifth mistake is waiting too long to get legal advice. The earlier you understand your options, the more control you have over the outcome. Divorce is one of the biggest transitions you'll go through, and the decisions you'll make during this process matters. Understanding your options before you file gives you more control, more clarity, and a better chance of a fair outcome. If you're in Alabama and want to know whether an uncontested divorce could work for you, for your situation, my law partner Debora Palmer and I offer a free 30-minute consultation at our office in Montgomery. We'll review your situation and give you an honest answer on what makes sense for you. Click the link in the description to request your appointment. We'll follow up to confirm your time.